question. I try on a little drink a bunch. Yeah, nice.
Be careful what you say.
Oh, yeah.
Then we'll have all the others. Diane, I believe we're ready. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lucy Robbins Wells Library Board of Trustees meeting for June 12th, 2023. We're all post-race, so everybody can have a big sigh, really. I think it was a great day and it went off very well. But we'll get to that, I'm sure, later in the meeting. Elizabeth, I'll ask you to do roll call if you will.
Sure. Andy Brecker,
He looks like he's online.
He is online.
Here.
Thank
Anna Eddy, Pauline Crook,
Here.
Iris Larson,
Here.
Leanne Mankey,
Here.
Scott McBride, Maureen O'Connor Lyons,
Here.
Neil Ryan,
Here.
Christine Shushin,
Here.
Diane Stam,
Here.
Fiona York,
Here.
Lisa Maston, Karen Benner,
Here.
Sheila Rowell, and David Nagel.
Here.
Roll set.
Super. Sheila did tell me that she was not able to come, nor was she able to find a substitute, but I have to go over that later. Public participation. Do we have anybody online? We do not. Okay.
The council had selected
No.
a town manager.
No, we were dead.
Okay, all right. I've gone to some meetings and I've said stuff and others, they said, oh, we know. At any rate, the process is right at the concluding part. We have selected a town manager. Some of you may have heard through the grapevine, or it was even announced at the council meeting. His name is Thomas Hudka. He is going to start on July 1st, and his residence, which won't be much longer there, is Pompano Beach, Florida. As opposed to going through, nor do I remember because it's extensive, you can Google it, Hutka, and you can learn everything about him, or you can go back to the council meetings where information was out. There are press releases that have gone out. I don't know whether they're in all
I've
newspapers.
seen it in the paper.
Okay. So he has a wide range background, older gentleman, and his credentials were vetted by everyone, whatever, and the whole council, everyone on the council came to this ultimate decision that he would be the best fit for Newington. I know Lisa wasn't here tonight. I don't know whether you had the opportunity, but
No, but Lisa did.
you were?
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
But
okay.
Lisa was.
Department heads were invited to go to a meet and greet the day that we did in-person final interviews with the so-called top 3 candidates. And so department heads met with all 3 of them. So Lisa got a little taste as to what was going on. And the mayor did talk with department heads afterwards just to share their comments, which came back to us to guide us to some extent to a final decision. And as I said, it's just a vast variety of background, including not that this is the most important thing that he oversaw, but he has been a town manager for Port Huron, which is upstate towards the Canadian border, which is a town about the size of Newington. But he has had background in overseeing the different counties in Florida, including the Broward County in terms of the county system works a little different in Florida, including the counties are around Disneyland, that particular area. It's brief, whatever, but there are all kinds of details. We discussed with him and looked over any and all information that was there. discuss things with him to make certain we were clear, as we were with the other two candidates, to make certain that we knew in advance and that we would be informed. So James has his time was extended until July 1st officially. He's fine, whatever. He will be going back to being the town clerk. Well, he kind of has been all this time, and we will see what happens. Hopefully it's a good fit, not only with the vast background he has, but also personally, the way he communicates with people from what we've seen for Newington. So
I'm just
that's the
thrilled
most
that
important
I'm
thing.
just thrilled that he's in favor of the library renovation. That was your first question, right?
Of course, was the first
Yeah,
question.
all joking aside, it
Yeah.
sounds like the town did a lot of interviewing and due diligence and worked with the agency, so we're all hopeful and looking forward to welcoming them.
One other thing, the facilities committee is not met. But there are enough people to be on it. There's still, I believe, one opening, just to let you know.
Answer the question that you're gonna
Huh?
ask.
You knew that was coming, but I have a second question.
Uh-oh.
I just wondered, you are liaison as a Republican, do we have a Democrat?
There was a list given to us to approve, and for some reason, it didn't include, I'm talking off the top of my head, the library and the senior disabled center, and I don't know why. So
Has the
one
position
wasn't
been
appointed, so we
Oh,
didn't vote on one. So,
Okay, so a name has not been.
so if it comes forward to us, obviously, we'll-
okay.
Dave, I do have a question, and I'm sure this new town manager will, you guys certainly are trustworthy and smart. Was James not interested? Was he?
James did apply.
He did.
James did apply, and I don't know whether this is a secret or not, but he was among the top 5.
Any other questions for town council?
Who are the members that are been appointed?
I'm sorry,
Who are the members on the building committee,
who are the members?
of the permanent building committee, now that we've got 5?
You're asking me again, and I keep forgetting who they are. I'll get that.
We mentioned Joe Harvey as
Joe
well.
Harvey's one, yes, and it just, Ron
But the rest of them haven't been confirmed.
Giovanni,
Oh, yeah.
okay, and I think I have a name, but it may be wrong. But I'll get back to you.
Oh, Alan is.
I don't want to say the wrong name.
No, that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Secretary's report, Iris?
Nothing.
No report.
Nothing to report.
Okay, with that, we'll go on to approval of the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to go through them? Any changes, updates? Periods, commas? No, Elizabeth's very good with these minutes. All right, I'm looking online to see if there's any hands up or. No? Okay. For those of you who are online, my computer is not online, so speak up if I seem to be missing you and you have your hand raised. I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Iris seconds.
Maureen did too.
Yeah.
I only need one. Iris second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Passes unanimously with the county have there. Thank you. Review of the annual activities calendar. I know we're all relieved that the race is over and summer's coming and you think we're done, but we're never done. Right? One of the things I want to mention is that our annual meeting is coming up in September. So make sure that you have that on your calendar. And when we get down to that on the agenda, I'm just gonna kind of see, do we or do we not want to look for entertainment in some manner for that meeting? That we were doing that before COVID. With COVID, we had virtual meetings and then we had the in-person meeting. Something to think about. We have a little bit of time to look for things or figure stuff out, but.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
I don't know what has been in the past? So like what, do you have an example of some, like a
Sometimes
speaker?
we have an author that will come and speak, sometimes we have an interesting person, you know, it doesn't have to be an author or anything else, just something that would be entertaining, something that might bring the public in off the street to listen to our business part of the meeting, so that, it's
So it's not specific to the, it's not a speaker that would be specific to like board interests.
No.
Just an example. Back in 2014 now, we had an author named William Landy.
Yeah.
He wrote a novel called Defending Jacob,
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
pretty popular.
Yeah.
Several years ago, I had Gina Baraka, who's a writer, reporter, she was a guest.
Wasn't Gina part of our?
she was part of the 80s, but it was the 80th,
Yeah.
you know, and we were expecting such a large turnout for that, that we actually split that up. We might have called it the speaker. I think I actually went to the meeting notes for Gina, but we were out in that, it was on a Sunday,
Yeah.
that we were normally closed, and I had it in the center area for Gina, because it
So
was a big
Do
draw.
we have any suggestions? We can bring those. Okay.
Yeah, bring them up if you think of anybody now, or, think about it, and then, you know, my real question is pros and cons, do we think we're ready to start opening things up? Do we have a limit for this room, or what's happening?
Is it September 11th or what day is it?
What's on the agenda? I think it's on there, September 11th.
So to answer your question about the limit, we have been going up in numbers. You know, we've had 40 to 50 at times.
Okay, so we probably don't want to do star level Gina Baraka, because that was, you know, a huge amount of people. There was as many people as we could get in the building, literally, she was very popular. But somebody or some interest that could come in, and we've had mystery writers, we've
Is this
had,
volunteer? They volunteer their time?
they volunteer, and sometimes we prefer that they volunteer, but there is a fund, we can pay some money for somebody, whether it's transportation costs or anything else like that, but we're not looking to, you know.
Yeah.
Spend our whole budget on a guest speaker for an annual meeting. More
Two things to add to the calendar. September 22nd is staff appreciation. Okay, that the date was cleared. You know,
Where did we finally settle?
at the Wooden Tap.
Okay, it was
September
Yeah.
22nd? September 22nd?
September 22nd, it's a Friday. We do Friday because the library closes at 5. And Karen and Lisa vetted that date, that's fine.
and the
And,
spot.
and the staff also likes that venue because it's conducive, you know, it's comfortable, it's easy, it's good
And
for
they can't get lost.
conversation.
Don't have to drive far.
Right, and
Can't
it's
get
local,
lost.
local. So, you know, details, I mean, you know, we have to finalize with food and numbers, but that's a ways off.
But for those of you who may not have been involved, who have been here all through COVID, and we were not socializing outside, it's an event to thank the staff. We were on a every other year appreciation dinner for staff to thank them for the things that they do. Our staff is exceptional, and even more so over the last 5 years, between first the driveway being reconfigured is when they first came up with the Lucy to Go program, you know, and this was before COVID, when everybody was sharing these ideas and what's going on. And then how nice that was that rolled right into COVID and stuff. So basically what we do is the board gets together along with the staff. We have a little dinner. It's really a mingle and you know how to get through. So now you get the name and the face of the person that you asked, you know, at the reference desk or whatever. They get to see and recognize who we are. We get to thank them for their service and what have you. It's usually a very nice night. It's
Not
low-key.
formal. You know, Diane might make a few remarks, just welcoming.
Always make me make a few remarks, but
And then the only thing we ask is that you, like, we wouldn't all sit at one table, you know, that you disperse amongst the crowds.
Yeah, I really like it, because I find
Oh,
out
it's
things
nice.
about people I think I've known for years, and then we talk about something.
And there's so
outside
many
of
new
library.
faces. There's a lot of new faces.
There are a lot of new faces.
Right.
It's gonna be fun.
so it will.
It's
be
always
fun
a
and
nice
exciting.
evening.
That's what it is. It's pretty low key, you know, you come, we have the food in the buffet style, and then we usually went the back part of that. They have a a private events area, so we're there.
And it's, we take the whole space. So we're not elbow to elbow. And then one more thing, Diane, I'll be a curmudgeon for the annual meeting. I would rather see just a business meeting.
Okay, let's table that until we hit the
Yeah,
annual
well,
meeting.
I'm, you know,
Let's
just
table that
giving,
until we hit
well,
the
you
annual
mentioned it. And that's all.
It's on the agenda under new business, so we'll talk about that there. So that, and then throughout the summer, July and August, we don't have an official meeting, but that does not mean that we may not have committee meetings. So if you have committee meetings, if you have projects that you're working on, things like that, we continue to go through, but we do not have an actual Monday meeting. It's always possible, depending on what's going on in our world, that we could call a board meeting if there was something to talk about or discuss or what have you like that. But I encourage everybody to continue to communicate and work on projects going back and forth. It's not really. Right, I'm sending you home with your math packet and your summer reading packet. We need to still keep our skills fresh through the summer as we go through that, so if that's good there. And I know I said briefly that the race was over, and we'll touch on this again, but one of the other things on the calendar is sponsorships, right? We're always looking for sponsorships and people, and just if you're anywhere around being with people that sponsored and you saw us, you know, if you can mention it. I mean, I schmoozed a little bit on the day, but if you can mention it again. Oh, it was so nice to see you at our race. We really appreciate it. You know, introduce yourselves. Let them know what's going on from there. So that's what I have for the activities calendar. I'll remind you now that Maureen passed out some paperwork for committee assignments. So if you haven't already given that back to her, please don't leave here tonight without filling out a sheet and giving it back. All right. And then from there, I will move into the treasurer's report with me and Mickey.
I apologize, it was sent out late yesterday. My typing skills are still limited. I don't have final numbers on the race because we have some costs that were accrued on the credit card that have not been paid, and these reflect payments, does not reflect credit card charges that haven't been paid yet. We also had the water sponsorship that came in from the Friends after the end of the month. It is relatively lengthy because we are still operating with two banks. I'm waiting for all the checks to clear at Santander before I close out the 3 accounts. And I have to keep a certain amount of money in so we don't get charged. So, but from June 1st on, bills, et cetera, are being paid from the TD account. We have the checking, the money market. We now have an operational bank card, so I'm looking to close that out. And anything that, and I'm speaking primarily to you, but I don't know if you have any charges that automatically go to the card. We want to change that out because we don't want Bank of America to get bills automatically on some one of those revolving, you know, auto renewals. So that is my goal for June, is to get the checks cleared and move the money over so that by fiscal year end June 30, we are all in at TD. And again, I'm not saying that I won't be treasurer, but I think one nice part of this will be whoever is the treasurer is under one roof versus Santander.
Including the safety deposit box, right?
Yeah, safety deposit box is there, the bank card will, you know, the credit card will be there, is there, as well as the accounts. So Santander was not a bad bank, but they didn't have credit cards for businesses. Then they don't have safety deposit boxes, and so we're set. We have the checks and we're up and running. Currently, the Santander checking stands at $38,865.72. Once that should be the balance when everything clears, because I have not written anything in June against it. And then we will rotate those funds into the or transfer them into the TD checking. TD checking stands at $19,740.46. There were no expenses against it from our initial deposit, except the bank supplies, which we've now received. Stamps, deposit slips, checks, etc. The money market at Kingston with the non-investment portion stands at 231,053.06. The Santander money market, again, the same thing, that the only thing we might have a change in before we transfer it over is if interest is accrued, but it typically accrues at the end of the last day of the month. So we probably won't have anything beyond the $20,728.51, because I hope to move everything before the 30th.
Before we get our 88 cents of.
Yes, well, it went down substantially because I moved part of it to the other bank.
Right.
And if you go to the money market restricted funds at TD, you'll see we are earning substantial amount of more of interest. I had not gotten the statement and I wasn't online at the end of April to give you the interest earned in April, so that's also reflected in here, but in May, we accrued $16.99 on basically the same amount we accrued 88 cents on, so it's a little better. As I mentioned to you, we are now operating primarily in the TD account. The TD account now stands at $25,048.83 as of today. We did receive last week the final installment of Janice Burrell legacy, $4,762.17, and all those funds are unrestricted, which is huge. I mean, we can use them to better the library how we see fit rather than within very limited parameters. So that very grateful for those. And then the balance on this, I just went over the banking aspect, and the restricted, unrestricted funds breakdown is on there as well. And the other thing that I have under treasurer, if it's not on the report, is June 30th is our fiscal year end. I would ask if there are any outstanding bills or race or other things that were accrued in this fiscal year, that I have them within the next week or so I can get them processed and through so that they close in the right year.
Does anyone here have any invoices or anything from race expenses or anything else like that? Anyone online have expenses? I see Pauline shaking her head no. Andy? Andy, you're on mute.
Okay, well, I'll just put it out
I
there.
do not.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's just- I can see with my head around. Thank you for that.
I just had a comment, but
Yes.
you said you were late with your report, but you weren't late with your report. We
Well,
got.
I'm usually a lot earlier on. How's that?
Now you know the secret of Leanne, right? She's late when she's on time. I work with someone like that. It's always the first one on every call. Great, thank you. Any questions for Leanne? No, okay. Thank you, Leanne. Library director's report. I'm going to assume that Karen, you're gonna do a combined report between director and assistant director?
Yeah. Year-end budget work. So our fiscal year also ends June 30th. Today was our deadline for purchase orders. So it's been pretty crazy the past couple of weeks. So Lisa, Carolyn, and I have been really working hard to make sure we, all our accounts in order and we've gotten everything that we need to do and all of that stuff. So that actually deadline was 5 o'clock today. So that's behind us. We're happy about that. Summer reading, the adult summer reading program the kickoff was June 6th. The program is Find Our Voice. So it was just really incredible. We had it in here, which is the first time that we've done that since COVID. We had a steady stream of people from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. And it was really, really nice. There were some people that I hadn't seen in a long time coming in to sign up. So that got off to a really strong start. The children's and teen is this Friday evening. So, I think just with all of the collaboration we've seen with the schools and things like that, I expect they're probably gonna have a good turnout. We are continuing, working with our, DEIB, our diversity and equity consultant. She had conducted, I think we mentioned a few, number of focus groups back in April, and Lisa and I are meeting with her this week, to kind of go over some of those results, and, we've both had, some meetings with her, so I think that, it's really, a worthwhile thing to do. I think we've already can see some changes, not just within our own department, but how we're communicating and relating to patrons and staff, and how the staff is too. So, so we're really happy with that. The Thursday evening concerts started through Parks and Rec. So, this year we were prepared. So Lisa had these beautiful signs made, and we have our Dave, who was our, you guys probably know Dave Brown, he is sitting out there, starting at about 5:30, 5:45, at the height of the traffic. So he's kind of directing, we've got these signs up there, the big A-frame signs, and we're directing traffic to come in this way. The interesting thing about it, we looked at the wording and we thought, yeah, this is great. And we're trying to think, it says something like library parking this way, and it has arrows. Well, a number of people have interpreted that to mean, oh, if you want to park in the library, go park in the library. So now we're getting some additional lettering. So it will say library parking for library patrons or whatever this way. So this past Thursday night was crazy busy, Dave said, because I think they had a pretty popular band there. So I feel like we're in a good situation. He's going to continue to do this on Thursday nights. We have had a number of groups of teens in the library. However, I'm trying to remember what we had talked about at the last meeting, if Lisa had, or if it had even come up at that point, but they've sort of been making some mischief in the library. We had somebody writing on the walls in the study room. We had somebody going out the back window of the library. We've had groups, they like the little parent area upstairs, if it's because it's kind of closed off and it's not visible. So, we've been sort of straddling that fine line between, yes, we want you here, but you can't be writing on walls, you can't be, climbing out windows and stuff like that. So we're working on that. There are 3 or 4 different groups. It's kind of amazing. It's just probably a testament to sort of how little there is right now to do in town for this age group. So, I mean, it's great.
How old are they?
They're probably between 13 and 15 or 12 and 15.
How goes the search on the teen library?
Well, I will talk about that.
Well, I was gonna say, maybe that will corral
Yes,
things.
I think that will help. So, I'll tell you about that one in just a minute. I just also wanted to mention that the children's staff visited all 4 elementary schools to promote their summer reading program and their special events. And they just, we're just continuing to get like really great feedback from the schools. So parents have called and said their kids are really excited and stuff. So, and then last but not least, the teen position. So we had an outside panel. We had internal candidates go through the process. We did make a selection. It has been confirmed, but we haven't actually told the staff the individual's name. So I want to just be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
But it is someone from our children's department who has been doing a lot of teen work in the last couple of years, who's phenomenal. And she actually started with us as a page. So very
First
excited.
task is to corral the group.
Yes, yes.
My kids do that too this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a time of year, I think.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
for us to-
Yeah, which,
Yeah.
So anyway, she's starting on the July 5th, I believe. So we're all very happy, very excited. And so now that's gonna leave a part-time opening up in that department. So then we'll go through the same process for that.
We're
And
funded, so
that's for woo-hoo. And that's it. Thank you.
Karen, are we finding these things as they do them or after they leave? We are cleaning people finding them
As they're here.
As they're here?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that?
Well, we've asked, the kids that wrote on the wall and went out the window, we asked them to leave the building. There was a girl who was in here with a couple of boys and she signed in for a study room. I think partly some of our procedures had gotten a little bit loose with during COVID. And so this young lady was able to sign in. Usually we need ID from every kid. And that's when we found the writing as soon as she left. So I ended up speaking with her mom and we really didn't think it was her that did the writing. We think she got into the room and then some of these other kids came in and her mom was, probably as any of us would be, like mortified. And, I said, she can't use the study room for a month. So that kind of like each situation is a little different. We try not to ban them from the library unless it's something really egregious, but if they're doing damage to property and stuff,
What window did they go out?
down past the computers, the public computers,
Yeah.
that window
Down
down
the
there.
stacks,
Mhm.
the end of the stacks.
Oh, all the way at the end, the back, yeah.
And
right
it's
up
so-
there,
Dark and dingy there.
Yeah,
Do they know there's bats up there?
no, but that's a really good thing.
We were doing a walkthrough once and one of the shutters was loose and we moved the shutter and bats came out at us. I have never been 6 feet tall in my life before. Not only was I 6 feet tall, I was 4 feet away from where I was just moments ago. It was quite unexpected. So maybe, be careful of bats if you see them.
That's a great thing to keep in mind. Thank you.
As
I
you
don't-
point out,
Instead of
don't
don't
jostle the shutter.
Watch for bats.
I don't know why he just wouldn't walk out the door.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
Because
No, it's not
because you
fun.
can.
Right.
That's-
I'm sure someone said you won't do that.
Yeah.
So they do it. Oh, they're probably alarmed. Oh, they're probably locked.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
right,
probably-
right.
So maybe they should be alarmed
Yeah, maybe so.
and locked.
Anyway.
All right, well, thank you for that. If it continues to be a real problem, we might have to really look at our policies or look at stronger repercussions. Having to sit down with parents. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a teacher. I don't know. how it
I'm
works.
hoping
I
a
don't know
teen
what's on that.
librarian
Yeah.
will now make that
I think it's
energy
gonna
be
be
a
a
little
help.
bit more organized.
Yeah, more directed,
Yeah.
that would be lovely. Having people pass by, check things out.
And to Karen's point, you don't want to ban them from the library.
No.
That's like expelling or suspending somebody from school. They're like,
No, and I know it's a roll of the dice if you involve parents and stuff like that. There
Not
are
my
parents
child.
there are parents that are, when we get home, we'll deal with it, and there's other parents that are, I'm sure it wasn't my, my child, so, and all across the spectrum.
But I think a personal relationship, right now, people in the library know these kids. If you've got someone who's designated teen librarian, they're gonna know the bodies who are in there.
Absolutely.
And they're gonna be able to go and create a rapport and maybe go, hey, Johnny, listen, somebody wrote on the walls over here. I'm not looking for you to narc on them, but can you tell them this is not,
Yeah.
and sometimes if you can spread the word and they can work for you.
I think that's so true.
I wonder if they saw any of the stuff we did on libraries that have writable walls, or if they just truly were being creative all on their own.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Ken?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for?
I have one question to the same subject. Do you know if they act like that when they're in the Parks and Rec areas?
I don't know, but I can tell you that one of the groups was over in the town hall building wheeling around on the handicapped wheelchairs.
Oh.
So
Sounds like they were just looking for trouble.
It sounds like they have nothing better to
Well,
do.
It's just my opinion, but aren't they more supervised over there? Aren't they there for a program and they have a staff person with them or no?
I think so.
I would
do,
imagine,
yeah.
but you know, where there's a will, there's a.
Well,
way.
yeah, there's an open door and it's a public space, you can go in, but I'm just assuming that, to Leanne's point, we're hoping that having a teen librarian back on staff will help channel that energy. Okay. All right. Anyone else questions? No? Sheila Rowell from Friends could not be here tonight, but a couple of things. One is that the Friends annual meeting is Wednesday in this room, yes?
Yes.
Starts at
6:30.
6:30,
6:30.
and it starts at 6:30, and, are they having entertainment?
Yes, they're actually having somebody from the Humane Society speak. in the program.
See, it could be anything, okay. So basically, they go through their, meeting agenda, they hand out awards, and they have a guest speaker. Sounds like a familiar format. As you go through, not only are we welcome to attend, I kind of encourage people to attend if they can. It helps for all of the factions of the library to be familiar, see familiar
Do
faces.
they meet in the summer as well, Friends? Or are they also off?
They're technically off. They may have committee meetings.
Okay.
They do usually have a budget meeting in July.
Okay.
That's become a little bit more official the last couple of years than. But for the most part, they're not having their regular meetings.
And they still do all the books, you know, they scatter the books and working and stuff.
Right.
They're around, they don't really know how to sit down and relax.
No.
Okay, the other thing is that, she had mentioned that they, of course, had received the Community Service Award from the Chamber of Commerce this year, which was nice. And, they are receiving many books for donations, so they've been busy sorting and, getting those things together, so they're doing pretty well there. And I don't have anything else to add unless you know something that's there. No. All right, then we will move on to committee reports. The budget, of course, was approved and we have our teen librarian, so we were so excited. Dave's not here, but thank you for us right now. It's nothing for us right now. For budget, right? And then Pauline, I'll come to you.
Okay, if you can't hear me, just my voice is not quite strong enough yet. And let's see. I'm going to probably have a PEP committee meeting for possible new corporate / Republican appointments. I've contacted both people that are interested and given them 5 dates in this month that I'm free and for them to get back to me. So people that are on the PEP committee, be aware that I'm going to try to get a meeting done this month. If not, it will go into July. And people who are in PEP know who they are. Other than that, if the library wants us to look at any kind of library policy and procedures, especially with our cherubs that's been using the library a little bit more forcefully than we would like to use. If they want me to go through and have a PEP committee, if there's a problem, we can start working on a new policy, just letting, Karen know that if they want us to start working on it, if they've got suggestions, we'll be willing to put our heads together this summer and try to come up with something.
Thank you, Pauline. I will mention that to Lisa.
Very good.
Great. Any questions for Pauline? No? Right. Thank you, Pauline, and thank you for getting a hold of those candidates and starting to set things up. That'll be nice.
Yep.
Actually, sorry, that took me a minute. Colleen, are you
Yeah.
setting up times to meet with the two candidates and then sending out available times to the committee or vice versa?
I'm trying to find out what times they're available because it's summer months. And
Okay.
then I will get in touch with the committee, but I'm going to be texting you guys the 5 dates that I've given them for the PEP committee. But I wanted to get this started before someone fills in a blank, because it's getting to be funny this summer. Last year I did practically nothing, but this summer I'm going to concerts, I'm going to this, I'm going to that, and going out to dinner. So this is I'm assuming I'm not the only one that's doing that this summer. So that I really need to get them with a date.
Okay.
Yep, the
Thank
world
you.
world is coming out of hiding once again, so that's a good sign. All right, thank you. Next would be investment, Neil Ryan.
Yes, I emailed out my report earlier today. And if you had a chance to look at it, May was a little bit of a down month for our portfolio. We were down $4,889.88. So as of May 31st, 2023, our portfolio balance stands at $717,053.29, which is still good. We're up for the year about $36,000 as a percentage, 3.5%, 12% per year. So far the year has been a good year. 5 months into the year, and we're doing great. And I contacted Dean Spada, our financial advisor, via email, suggesting that we need to meet with him again for 6 months. And I asked him to let me know what days and time work for him. I was asking if we could possibly get together late June this month. If that doesn't work, so he looked back to me, let me know what days and time work for him. Then I'll coordinate those days and times with the investment committee, and we'll go from there. And my final point is, I brought a little prop with me today for tonight's meeting. This is Barron's magazine. It's a Wall Street Weekly magazine. It covers the market in great detail. It's a well-respected magazine, well thought of, and their headline in this most recent issue says, I'll pass it on if you want. This market has legs. The bull is back. Why more stocks could join the tech leaders? And they talk about sometimes the Barron's effect. If they talk up a certain stock positively, well, usually the following Monday or Tuesday, the stock takes a little pop up. So now I don't know, the Dow was up about 170 points today. I don't know if this headline is with that. But I just want to share that with you that Barron's, the Wall Street, it's just, it's a conservative paper, so it's not going to make any wild rash statement, but the market has legs, so I think that's a good thing. For
that meeting, I would appreciate it if you would avoid Mondays.
Yeah, that's joke, sure.
Avoid, yeah.
Yeah. And that is everything I have to report.
Okay.
Right.
Anybody have questions for Neil online? Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next up is House Committee with me. Moving along, except for the freelance artists that we have. We seem to be in good shape overall. I did speak with Carolyn about the outside and the upkeep and stuff that the town normally does for us. And we have a few things that are on the list to be done, but there were a couple other things going on in town, so they didn't get them done. But just so you know, I'll read off the list again. There's 3 dead arborvitaes along the property line there, so those are to be replaced. The replacement boxwood, if you're going up and down Cedar Street or walking the property as we did, one of them had died, so they need to replace that. That's by the old cedar or the historic door.
And then just general mulching and upkeep. You know, they do the weekly maintenance here all the time anyways, so it's looking good. The other thing, that I would like to bring up, for a vote and a beg for money, right? That's my job, I always beg for money when they put me on house committee. So we have, those of you that made it to the walkthrough, you saw that the 8 chairs that we have in the quiet study areas are in desperate need of reupholstering. They should have probably been reupholstered 5 years ago when we shut down for COVID. That didn't seem to be such a big issue, but I am very happy to say that the staff found and finalized some fabric that they like for the chairs. I'm in agreement. I like the fabric that they picked up. What's nice about it is that it feels like fabric, but it's much more durable than what you might find in your regular. So it's cleanable, scrubbable. Did I hear bleachable? It's bleachable. Yes. So
Have to put it on the wall.
I'm gonna have to get some for my home. So we're talking about reupholstering those chairs. We found the fabric for them. We'll get the chairs reupholstered, and the upholstery fellow is going to, and I had mentioned this a couple of months ago, but there is a problem with the upholstery that was done up on the in the children's area. And the fabric is covered, but the labor, of course, wouldn't be covered if it was defective fabric. But he's going to do that at no charge because he's doing all these other things. So, you know, back and forth and as we go through. So with that, the fabric and freight for the chairs is $4,875. I'll give this to you. The labor to reupholster the 5 wingback chairs is $2,700. The labor to reupholster the other 4 chairs is $1,360. And the children's bench seat, as I mentioned, is no cost. So the cost here for all of those things comes out to be $8,935. And so I would look for approval for not to exceed amount of $9,000. I don't know if you guys want to discuss or figure out, but I'm excited to get those chairs covered and moving forward. And that's what some of our unrestricted funds go to, right? It's not a book, it's not whatever.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because I have no problem with this, but I'm thinking we held off on the drapery renewal because we wanted to get our fabric selection done on this first. Is the potential that you want to do the drapes in this fabric?
No, we've got 3 or 4 different patterns
Oh, okay, it isn't
that are
just one, so,
complementary. It's
okay,
not
all
just
right,
one.
okay.
It's a couple of different patterns and different
Is there
colors.
a way I can get swatches so I can start playing around
Yeah, you could
when we get to that point?
see them or whatever. Do we still have?
We do.
I have some photos of them. I can show you what's going on there. But I first.
All right, I just wondered if we were
we
buying
need
fabric drapes.
But
I know-
nobody sits on them yet.
No, but
So-
what I was thinking was if we were going to do, trying to complement one to the other, to buy the fabric from him as well, so that was looking at his money.
Okay, so we can ask Brownie to save scraps or anything else for us as he
So we can figure it
goes
out.
through and does that.
I'll make a motion to approve not to exceed $10,000.
I will second that. I just had a question for Leanne. This isn't gonna impact the expense or anything between TD Bank and Santander, there's no issue there.
First of all, I don't know the timing on this, but we should be fine because I have plenty of money. I could actually pay the bill from Santander and not affect the balance right now. Or I'll just move it over and pay it. But I've left the majority. I wanted to make a one-time move rather than 2 or 3. But I can move that money if I need to pay it very easily.
So I don't know how quickly he would get it done. I doubt that it would all of the chairs and everything would be done by June 30th. I mean, could be, but
We have enough, so we can play around
yeah,
with
but
that.
I would think that it would be under the new accounts that you would be writing payment for these. Yeah. But it's good to know it's either way. So I have a motion of not to exceed $10,000 to reupholster those 8 chairs. Any other questions? I'm looking online to see if any hands are. Nobody's. Okay, thank you. Any questions here?
No.
No?
My question.
Great. Do I have a second for the motion?
Neil second.
I will
Oh.
second the motion.
Thank you, Neil.
All right, so we'll vote. All those in favor of a not to exceed amount of $10,000 to reupholster those 8 chairs?
I,
All right,
Any opposed?
Nope.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I do have one question I probably could have asked it before this. Everything is structurally sound within the chair, though. We're not covering up something that needs to be replaced altogether, right?
No.
Okay. Good. Not that you want to sit in them, but you could go sit in them. Good, so, I went through the walkthrough information and, the upholstery, so hopefully by the end of July, we'll have our chairs in place and upholstered. But I think it looks nice. I think the staff did an excellent job, not only, researching the fabrics, but choosing complementary colors that not only work with what's here now, but work with the chair. So if we end up moving them to different rooms and different places, we're not like, well, we chose this fabric for here, it has to stay in this corner kind of thing, and it goes with the other stuff. So again, thanks to the staff for going through that initially. And then, next up would be facility and site with Maureen Lyons.
okay, have some, encouraging news, good news. Lisa and I attended a Connecticut State Library webinar last week or the week before, and what it was, it laid out all the information on applying for the Connecticut State Library grant for expansion. You know, it covers a myriad of subjects. So there are some deadlines if we're interested, and we are interested. The notice of intent, just to say that you want to apply for a grant, needs to be in by June 30th. So I contacted Sonia Richmond, who's the grant writer for the town of Newington, a consultant. And she actually just did the form while I was on the phone with her. So Diane would have to sign it. I don't even know.
Got my pen.
But I just want to make sure, I have hard copies here for everybody, and I am going to email Andy, Pauline, and Anna,
Yeah, good.
those who are not here, so you can see, it's one page. It's just the facility name, address, and the category. Is it new construction, an addition? So I want you all to look at this and make sure that we have. Oh, you're gonna do that, thank you, that we have the right information. And already looking at it, I'm looking, she doesn't have new construction. I guess it's conversion of existing building,
I would call it.
We're not net new.
No, we're not.
yeah.
We're not net new.
So this is the first deadline, just saying, yes, we're interested. What the state library is doing, they will get all these letters of intent.
Yeah.
And then they will work on their budget and say, oh, we've had requests going to total 50 million or 10 million or whatever. So June 30th is the deadline for that. We're well within that parameter. And September 30th, we have to have all our supporting documentation in. That's the actual application, and that would be much more complicated.
And what was the date on that one?
September 30th. I think we're pretty much ahead of the game. I mean, we have stuff we can submit. Nothing is etched in stone. If we tell the state library our addition is gonna cost, we're saying $45,000.
Million.
It can change. That's a million.
45,000.
We could take that up in the chat.
But that can change, that's subject to
Oh,
change.
what's
The
it,
li-
zeros?
The state library is not holding us. to
Right,
that.
right.
In 2 months, 5 months, that could change.
They're gonna give us a set
Right.
amount, kind of,
Right.
no matter what. it may be.
So September 30th would be the next deadline to submit drawings, a building plan, that type of thing. And the state actually makes an award in November. So once the award is made, and again, it doesn't, if we say it's gonna cost 45 million, that is just a placeholder. So in November, they make their decisions. And then, once, I don't see why we would have any problem if we submit the proper documentation, being approved, then you have 3 years to get your local funding. And then, once that funding is in place, a town referendum, how, whatever.
And we're treated, if I understand correctly, as a public versus a private because of
No.
our public funding?
This is where
'Cause
that
that's what-
application has to be looked at, because there is a delineation between a public library, we're not really a municipal library.
No, and that's one of the questions that I'd ask when I went to
Yeah.
the same seminar, because every year the rules change a little. But the one thing we have to be careful of is when I went back to the person who ran the seminar, she did some research, and at that time last year, we would fall under the public.
Yeah, well, this is something, so that's the next step I wanna talk about. So anyway, let's say all this happens, we have 3 years to get funding in place, hopefully that would happen more quickly. And then once your monies are there, you have 5 years to complete the project. Now, Sonia, and she's very knowledgeable. I was, comfortable working with her. But anyway, this is her suggestion. And she is suggesting that we meet with her on a weekly basis until everything is submitted. And she would like to start these meetings, I just spoke to her today, next Monday. And she said she likes to do the beginning of the week, so if anything comes up, she and we who are, you have a work week to take care of things. She would be bringing one of her colleagues to these meetings. And then it would be library representation as we, see fit. So obviously Diane, I would be there. The entire facility and site committee is welcome. That would be up to you. I think there, like Andy, would you be interested in attending those meetings?
I would.
Good. So, I told Sonia that I would get back to her because this had to be reviewed. Obviously, I want to make sure our information is correct. And then she would, submit this for us. And then we would take it from there. But she said, and Dawn, is that her name? Dawn Lavelle?
Dawn Lavelle, yeah.
The woman from the state library who manages this piece. She was very, if she said it once, she said it 100 times. There is a timeline that's strictly adhered to. You can't say, oh, I missed the deadline. Please give me another minute. So that's why Sonia recommends a weekly meeting to make sure that everything is done according to Hoyle and on time. And I think it's great that, that she's offering to do that. I mean, I realize she's the consultant for the town, but she doesn't belong to us, you know,
pay-
exclusively.
Are we paying her?
No, she is paid by the town.
So they're paying her no matter how often she
Right,
works or not,
right.
it's not
We as
hourly
the
where they would then
town-
say,
Yeah, grant,
he's
right,
meeting
or
with you every week,
consultant.
or are you gonna help?
No,
Okay,
this is all part of her retainer, I guess.
okay,
And she's not an individual, she's part of a group. It's called the Sonic Group. SONICK, and, so that's not coming out of our coffers.
Right, and one of the critical things, and that was reiterated last year and this year, and also by Tanya. We didn't pursue it last year because all these check marks we were able to do, we weren't able
We
to check
weren't
off
able,
last year, we
right.
weren't anywhere near.
Right.
So it was better to postpone it.
So, I'm sending this to the folks who are not here.
do you know what to do at the end of September, do you know what the supporting documentation is?
Well, that's, we have to see the application, but it will
Oh,
be
got it,
your
okay,
drawings, your building program,
okay,
authorization, you know, it's, the application would walk us through that.
Got it, okay.
I guess it's very specific.
okay, so we wouldn't get the application until after the June 30 deadline,
Right,
okay.
you know, that would be the next step, get the application, and then we would be working on that. We had some figures that the architect had supplied us, and I asked for some clarification on that. Just, you know, the square footage, previous existing square footage, you know, the library square footage before the 1988 edition, what that was, and then what we're looking at. And apparently, the new square footage would be like 55,000. I just got a response from the architect. Unfortunately, I have not heard from Leslie. So that doesn't,
So we're not sure what her health situation
I
is.
don't know what her health, I mean, she's always very good about responding. And I haven't heard from her, and then the architect responded to me but didn't mention Leslie's status, so. I've been hesitant about reaching out to Leslie, I don't wanna be a pain, but I will, I think I will, you know, send her.
I
an
think
email.
it would be appropriate to send her just an update.
Yep.
Hope you're doing well, just so you know,
And
we're
show-
moving forward,
right.
we're working with a grant writer, we're doing other things. And then if she feels up to it, I think she'll come back, or she'll tell you,
Yeah, I think,
you've got to get
you know,
another horse.
yep. Yeah.
But we can't, and I don't mean to sound unfeeling, but particularly with working with a deadline.
Yeah, no,
I mean, she has a business, she understands that, I'm sure, she's been in business for a long time. And if she's not able to help us, I would assume she seems like a very conscientious
Oh, yeah.
individual. She
I
will make
think-
other arrangements for us, or at least recommendations.
99% of what we need from her is already in place, you know, the feasibility study, et cetera, et cetera. What's outstanding is the text for the lookbook.
Right.
So that's something that, you know, we'll have to discuss. So, I will get in touch with Sonia to firm up a meeting for Monday. Does that sound good for everybody this coming Monday? And it would be probably 6:15, 6:30.
Is it in person here somewhere?
Yeah, it's in person.
Do we have rooms?
I'd have to check.
Yeah,
If we're
well,
gonna do Mondays every week.
she suggests every week. So if 10 of us are involved, and not everybody can come, but there still has to
Some
be.
Mondays just don't work for me.
Would we do Mondays even leading up to not have, so like even Mondays in June as opposed to once we have the application and then we kind of know what we're putting together?
I know, I'll talk to her because Monday is our board meeting also. I mean, she's available from like 8 in the morning on. Daytime
So we
meetings are
don't
not
have
feasible
board
for
meetings,
us.
don't have board meetings in the summer.
No, but this would
I think
go,
what would be nice is if you had enough people on the committee, because I'm sure there's a lot of people with summer vacations. So if we have 5 meetings and you're able to make 4, that's great.
Right.
If you're able to make 3, that's great.
what about,
But we gotta keep the
would
ball.
Tuesday be better? a Tuesday.
Find
I
out
think
what
she
she's
was
got to offer.
more
and then
concerned
I
about
can-
having it earlier in the week than later if we ran into snags and then you have a weekend and that type of thing.
Well,
but-
but you're never gonna get everybody.
No, but
So-
you're a crucial member and Mondays are not.
Tuesdays are better for me, but Monday, but I will try and make Mondays work. If we make it 6:15, I might make the beginning of it and have to leave for something else. That's
I'll
all.
talk to her tomorrow.
Can I ask you a question about we're doing a lot of programming and these rooms are really busy. Would it be something that you might be able to do in a study room if there was not a meeting room available? And how many people would you?
Is
I don't-
somebody coming in person? Is it virtual? What?
It's not virtual, it's in person.
Okay, it's in person.
I guess what I should ask is how many people would you anticipate?
Yeah.
'Cause
Well, what's the largest study room hold? Only six?
you could do 6, but no more than that.
What about the room that we were in? Or
There are a lot
back
of, there's a lot of,
meetings?
yeah, I don't. I'm not saying it's not available. I'm guessing that there's not gonna be a room every single.
Let me get some dates.
Okay.
I'll talk to Sonia.
Great.
And then share it with everybody.
Okay.
I don't know if it's objection or not, but I believe Monday nights, the council room at our Saviors is available.
Also, if we're not formally, this would be considered a committee meeting, so we could do it over Zoom without needing all the tech set up, right?
Right, no, it's not,
We don't need to
it's
test
not
that.
a board
We
meeting.
just
Right.
need to have it.
Yeah.
Maureen, I mean,
Yeah.
if we can't find a suitable place here, could we meet in somebody's office, the town hall, maybe, possible?
Well, this,
Maybe it changes kind of based on
yeah,
what's available.
town hall even have meetings.
There's a big room that CERT was meeting in on the first Thursday of the month that now they're meeting elsewhere. They're meeting at the firehouse. So I do know there's a big conference room that's right. If you walk in from this door, it's straight ahead and it actually divides up into a couple of rooms, but I have no idea what the availability is.
What's the cost for that one?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Do
we
they
have
charge
to
for it
pay.
or-
I don't know what we have to pay.
Well, just a thought, I mean, if we can't find a place
I
here,
understand that, so. Well, let's see what, we'll start with.
Start with the dates and then we'll find a place.
Just let us know.
I'm okay with Tuesdays. I think that's early enough in the week.
And then Diane offered her living room. No.
I was gonna say, we could rotate. Almost, but maybe that's not as fancy.
That's
For
not,
what it's worth, Monday is Juneteenth. Is the library even open?
Yes,
yes.
Okay, so we haven't adopted that. I will be out of town, but that doesn't mean you can't all meet without me.
Right, and I
Yeah,
think
but
that's
I
the
would-
key is to
yeah.
get enough people on the committee that come regularly, so that if you're out one week, it's not a bad thing. But we need people on the committee throughout. Can't have somebody come in at the end and say, no, it's all
Yeah.
wrong, can't have not enough input in the beginning so that we don't have enough information that's accurate, so, obviously, this is high vacation time, I know that, I see that.
And I think also, or I shouldn't say, I think I know that's, Vincy from the, Berman's Group, the architect. I think, she would make herself available as well. She could join, via Zoom or phone if we needed her. And not every meeting, but I
No.
think.
No, but they're.
No, but if we had questions, just like, the email that you sent back, clarifying questions,
Mhm.
to help answer some of these things, if we came up with that. We could either send an email and get the questions or ask her to, sit in on a meeting. I'm okay with Tuesdays, if Tuesdays works, that's better for you.
It's just better for me, when I have
When
other
is your
commitments.
Thursday. New Zealand, oh, Thursday.
Yeah.
Right, let me
Send
see
your
what
phone to
Sonia says.
Australia for a second.
No, because then I would be gone all summer.
I know that Sonia works. Day
Outside
to
of normal,
evening,
yeah.
she doesn't stop working at 5 o'clock.
Okay, so let's see what that is, send the messages
Yeah.
out, so who do we have here? We have Andy, we have Leanne,
You seem to
You.
be very
Yeah.
interested, Fiona.
Fiona,
Anyone else?
anybody
I
else?
got attend.
Well, I'll just send it to everybody and then.
Send it,
all
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
send it to everybody
everybody,
and we'll see where.
So
it goes.
that will play into your having as many bodies as possible,
Right,
so
right.
for flow.
Yeah, but it's gonna be harder to find a room for 12 than it is to find. a
No,
room
I
for,
agree.
You know, 6.
But find out where the
in here.
interest is.
But I know, I'm sure Andy is interested in attending as many as he's available for.
You're shaking
Andy,
your
does
head.
Tuesday work for you? Generally?
Tuesdays generally.
Okay,
Let's
good.
see, the,
Can't meet the 4th.
the 20th works. July 4th doesn't work.
No, well, we
The
wouldn't have.
11th works, August 1st works, 8th works.
Okay, so it sounds like there's
All right.
enough Tuesdays in
So-
there.
Let me find out from Sonia. And I'll send an email.
And that's probably
I-
good in case people are taking long weekends and stuff.
Yeah,
Tuesday's probably better.
and I would
Yeah,
think
I was thinking of that all along.
that Lisa or Karen could be involved and, I mean, not. You guys would have to hash that out,
Sure.
but your input is
You
important.
could do handoff. I know you guys do handoffs very well.
We like handoffs.
Yeah, but you do. I mean, you proved it with the. part.
I just wanna, just a little anecdotal comment tonight. The reason Lisa isn't here is because her daughter is graduating from high school.
Right.
Yay, me.
Yeah,
Something else.
my grandson graduated over the weekend.
I saw that photo.
Time. So anyway, that's where we're at. I think, we're cooking. And we're on the right track. And at least the state library is gonna know that we want some of their money.
Do we know historically, like how, if this is something that's a sure thing, and like how much they give out, or is that, do you know what I mean?
Well, they have to go to the state legislature
Right,
for money. But, we haven't asked them for any money.
like they probably got a certain amount
Well,
from
they get,
them and now they can spend it.
And,
however-
yeah, I mean,
however
they're not
want.
asking for a pittance.
Right,
from
right,
the
right,
Legislature,
right.
you know.
But I think it's a selection process, because they're probably applications from.
Well, they look at the
Library.
applications and
Prioritize.
and there's
They
different
pick
award
which looks the
levels.
best.
I mean, somebody may only need, I don't know.
45,000?
I mean, we could submit some, but I don't want to get our hopes taken.
You know, somebody
Not
do
the
that,
whole
like need to
thing.
do like
No,
a
no.
code
I
compliance
was just wondering.
or something like
But
that.
I can
not a-
find out.
but, and as I recall correctly, they sometimes tie it to, a part of the process in terms of the money, like if you get 1 million, for example, it could be, so there's a lot of things that go into their end of the decision making.
Okay.
But Sonia certainly didn't seem to think that if we had all our proper documentation and
Right.
stuff, that
Then we wouldn't not
we wouldn't
get,
say, oh, that's not worthwhile or something.
right, okay, so maybe it's just a matter of like,
You know,
the people
you
that
know,
are able
as
to get
someone
together to submit it.
We're not applying for the grant just because we want to paint,
Right, right.
and we don't like our furniture.
And it's why we
You know,
didn't apply
it's a
last
little
year, because
deeper
we
than
didn't have
that.
our ducks in a row.
But we have to make that argument, and that would be through the application
Got it.
process, so I think they must have some
Okay, so to
pretty
sum up,
specific
you're gonna
questions.
reach out to
Gonna
Sonia.
be tomorrow.
Karen, you're gonna check for rooms for Tuesday nights.
Yep.
To see if that works, and we've got a couple of people that are truly interested, but you're gonna send the information out to everybody.
Everybody. To everybody, and then hopefully, I mean, I understand everybody can't be there all the time, but we have a good representation, and then obviously representation by people who are also, not that any of us, all of us are not interested, but there's, some people that might be
Okay,
more concerned.
anything else?
No, I think we're all set for the moment. I will get information out tomorrow. And if anybody has questions, Andy and Pauline, are you near your email? Did you get what I sent you?
Okay, hold on.
Checking.
Hold on. Well, it's just one page, it's pretty basic.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it on my iPad, so the formatting is terrible. But I
okay.
assume that when I look at it on a computer, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it should do. Okay, all right.
Where
Thank
did that project cost come from?
That came from the architects a while ago. It was in one of the many packets that we had from them. And you know what, I can. Hopefully I have it electronically.
You do, if you don't, I do.
Yeah, and what it is, and I'll send it out, it shows, the revised concept design, which is the latest and greatest that we've looked at with the drawings. And then they have option 1 and option 2 with possible reductions. And then I have a
Haven't seen that.
clarification that I just got today of what those reductions might
You
be.
could resend that.
So I will get that.
Thank you. Great.
If I could ask a question, because it
Mhm.
involves council or not council, is this a plan that you are going to opt for as opposed to what at one time you were going to do in terms of meeting a deadline for a referendum this fall?
Well, that's something we have to,
That's a different prong of the same fork.
yeah. I don't know if we're looking at a fall. I mean, the state would award the grants in November.
That's
So
why I asked. I
this
don't
is
want
an
to share
election.
information beyond here that would lead to a misinterpretation.
Oh, no,
of what
we're not.
direction you're-
That's not what we're saying. There's
I
no
don't think we're
conversation.
at the point of the referendum because I don't think we've done enough advertising for what's going
And
on.
we
with
need
that.
to,
Well,
go,
that was my next, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
and
that
go
was my
before
next
council.
question that you're running up against, you don't have a workbook done, not it's your fault.
right,
And is this an option you're looking to and putting off the other alternative, if you wish, the referendum alternative until
this
Oh,
year,
later
is
time.
this year an election year? No.
Yeah.
It is.
The municipal.
municipal election?
Every year's an election year, actually, but
Yeah.
Depends on who's running.
But we would, even without a lookbook, Dave, I think we can make a presentation or just let the council know that we've gotten this far with the, working with the state library.
Well, I plan on sharing this, the council.
Yeah, so we let them know that.
The
we're-
question may come up. and I
That's,
think that's
the letter of intent will be by June 30th, and then we'll.
Right, and we'll know in November, it would be good to have how much, like knowing how much we're able to get, if we do from them, then we have that
That's
number.
part of the
And
selling,
your
that's
referendum
Yes. part of
on
the selling, yeah.
anything would
part of the
not
selling
be.
point to say, we've
We
got
already
X amount of
attained this, yeah.
But
dollars.
it may, it wouldn't be. in
Time out.
We could do.
Question,
Their
yeah.
referendum can be done at any time
Right,
during the year,
right.
because it costs
Right,
extra
it's not
amount of
happening.
money.
Right.
I think 30,000 or more to do, other than
Other
during
than during
Right,
an
the
election
right.
time.
Okay.
That is why it's
Right,
usually try to.
And that's
same
your
time as
question.
election.
Your question to us is, are we ready to put this to referendum come this November? vote?
Right, that's.
And I would say that we are not,
Okay,
unless anybody here feels strongly that we can, wrap it up between now and then, and I don't think that we can.
but as I mentioned, we have to pursue several avenues at once. And if we, Fiona and I were just saying, if we can turn around and get this in place, it's one more piece to sell.
We absolutely need to have this in place. There cannot be, for the funding and the grant. Because that makes the referendum stronger,
Right.
right? Now you've got your
Yes,
plans,
yeah.
now you've got some state funding, now you're coming to the referendum to see what you can do and go through from that end.
Unless we're really blindsided by something, I think we should be able to meet that September 30th.
Right.
Application deadline.
So I don't think we're looking to get on the electoral.
But I would say.
because I
But
do
that-
know, I was not gonna share it here, that there is a referendum item having to do with the school system and a renovation of, I know, Patterson School.
Yeah,
I won't go into
because they
details,
spent the
but it
money
is
that they
for
were gonna
safety
use for
reasons.
something else.
Right.
It won't come to the amount that
Sorry.
Anna Reynolds did by any means, but still.
Okay,
But thank you, make this known, this aspect known
Yes.
to the council. Okay, great. Thank you.
Diane, a couple of things. I think
Yes.
Counselor Nagel is referring to the John Wallace referendum, which I think is about in the 10 to 12
I'm
million
sorry,
dollar
I-
range.
I
As
said
far
the
as
wrong
the state
number.
library grant goes, it's $1 million. It's almost automatic. If you fill out the paperwork and your project's actually real and worthy, you get $1 million. Typically no more, typically no less. We ought to do it, but you still have 44 million plus to go. So you got to kind of think about this, as Leanne was saying, in a much broader view of all the things that need to be done to get to where you want to be.
Right, thank you. Nice summary, thank you. Okay, any other things? I'd like to move on to fund development. You ready? Okay, Anna Eddie is out, but she did call a fund development meeting and sent me some notes. So I'm gonna go through the notes a little bit and then we'll have some discussion. I'm sure we'll have lots of things going on, but on May 30th, fund development met and to consider options for continued, these are Anna's words, continued monetary sustainability for our not-for-profit entity. Foremost in the conversation was the future of the 5K race, who will manage sponsors now that Anna has retired from that role. The meeting's outcome has a two-part plan. At the meeting, Leanne graciously volunteered to be the sponsor or coordinator for the race in 2024. The support in the background from Anna. To explore options for future growth and sustainability. Came away with several open items. We need to determine sponsor levels from 2024. Keep it the same or eliminate or lower levels. We also need to dive deeper into future options. Fiona's Give Day, Fiona came with some suggestions of what we could do. The proposal and growing legacy. Champions for sustained recurring donations. There was not enough time to expand on these topics on May 30th. We spoke about scheduling a follow-up meeting during the summer to continue to review our future options. It was thought that scheduling the meeting at the June trustees meeting, that would be tonight, would perhaps allow for better attendance in the summer meeting. Respectfully submitted, Anna. P.S. She will not be traveling in July or August. Pick a date that's good for the majority and she'll be there. So a couple of things that came up. A couple of points that I think we should consider. One is with the level of sponsorships that we got, we created new titles and we have to figure out how that's all gonna play out for next year. The part that Leanne stepped up to was to take the email addresses for the sponsors. Do that initial email, reach out and then track folks that come back in. And if we have to follow up and send an email, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem doing that. I will be the first person to tell you I'm the last one you want to sell anything. I am not a salesperson. But I can definitely do outreach in terms of what we already have established. And that's what I can do. I've already talked a little bit to Michelle. Because like she said, she's the town beggar. And so.
Yeah, Fiona has business cards printed up. That's what
And so, you know, we can work from there. But what would be nice is if we could say, for example, and I'm just throwing it out, if we were to set a July date, which would be our second Monday, and we meet then and go over this. From a treasury standpoint, I can tell you the people who renege or their checks bounce or whatever, those are the 150 and lower. Which are the cheer and the other 250, some of them, but primarily it's the 150s. And you know, I don't want to discount someone from giving that level, but you know, it does make for a lot of different.
They could give to the legacy on their own, whatever amount. And not, you know, it would like, we could offer that option of saying like, we realize that we have, you know, maybe this level that we start at is too high for some people. And so the other option is giving to.
Well, I think people are looking to be on that race signage and stuff like that. And you know, like in this, it seems like in recent years, we always have someone who check bounces.
So I don't want to have a fund development meeting here tonight.
No, but I'm just saying.
I just want to hit a couple of the high points. One of the other questions that was brought up is, do we continue to do a race? Because a race is highly intensive when it comes to work that the staff performs. And sadly, the work that the board performs, it's always the same people that do it. It's a big job. Is there consideration of how to pare down what we're doing? And I think it's ironic that this year we did a little readers program, which was lovely and well received. And 2 weeks after we did that, we're having a discussion about how do we simplify the race, right? And I equate it to the no bake sale that people had. Remember in the old days, you used to buy a box of brownie bits and you'd mix it up and bring it and then stand there and sell the little pieces. And somebody came up with the idea, just give me the money, give me the $15 that you would have spent and we'll do that. So not that we're looking to do a no bake sale, that's really, the Friends Arena and stuff like that, but we're looking to simplify a process or find an alternate or an auxiliary process that would also help that. So if you're thinking about things, if you get something in the mail and it comes through and you're figuring that out, we are a three-legged stool. We want to make sure that we are not eating into Friends programs. Right, so I don't think that we do a Winterfest or we wouldn't do a Summerfest with their Winterfest kind of thing. Because the Friends money that they earn pays for 99.9% of the programming that this library does, that's, flagship to some of our services here. So these are the things that we're thinking about where we want to go. We are going to have to, before we start sending out the sponsor letter for the 5K race, we are going to have to figure out how we're going to juggle those titles around. So that information is good.
I just want to say, I think the most important part of Anna's report is to schedule a meeting. Look at all these issues, these items you just discussed, Fiona and Ann were discussing, we should discuss those things at this next meeting, we're discussing the right. We don't want it to a fund development just right here. So that's what the important part of this report is, when do we schedule a meeting to discuss all the issues again?
Right. And so again, fund development is a committee report. Sadly, our board has dwindled in size. We don't have as many members. So even though it's a fund development report, raising funds for the library is very important. If that's not your official committee that you've been assigned to over the past year, I think if you're interested, if you want to be part of this, the more minds brainstorming, the better. So I don't know if there's a date that
The meeting we had the 30th was very well attended. The fund development meeting we had on the 30th, it was very well attended. Almost 12 members are here. So I think what we'll do is schedule a date for the second meeting. That's what I think we're looking to do.
The two dates that I would throw out, though I don't like to put it all the way off to August, is to say we aren't meeting on the second Monday of July or August. Perhaps that might be, because you already have those in mind for board meetings. Most people don't have other conflicts, that's all.
So going forward, then Tuesday is probably not a good day. But I mean, if you look at July.
I don't think we should schedule anything without the end.
No, Anna says that she can pick a date in July or August and she'll be there.
I go away the first 2 weeks of August. I'm pretty much around the rest of the summer except for those 2 weeks.
Okay. I'm gone the first week of July and the last week of August, so I can get
So the second week of July, you come back.
second week of July.
That's 4th of July, right?
No,
No, that would be the
Oh, that's
11th, no, the 10th of July would be, right? 4th is a Tuesday.
The 4th is the first week.
Yeah.
This year.
The 4th is
Every year.
We wouldn't expect that every board member able to attend.
right. No, so let's pick a date. Let's pick a date. I can't bring my calendar up on this.
July 10th is a Monday.
Yeah, I may or may not be back on this day, but what are we doing if it's 1 week out from there?
Could it be tied into the meeting with Sonia? On the Tuesday, the 11th or no? The 17th is the following Monday.
There's a Hannel
Anal, however you say it.
On 17th.
On the 17th.
Does July 10th work? We'll go back to July 10th.
I can definitely, I will double check, yeah.
The Hanel one, was changed to the 24th and the 31st, according to the bulletin, from the,
That is true. I was just gonna say that. That's right, Pauline. So that 17th date was the initial date and he had a conflict, so it's the 24th.
Of July.
July. Well, I think something else got booked in there. But again, I will check.
Okay, can you
So
check
it's not on the
calendars for a room, and maybe that's the way we do it, we pick it, give me, if you can find 2 dates that are remarked,
Okay,
room is available. Let us know.
I will do that.
And we'll try to get that, so it's not the 17th, it's the 24th.
It's 24 and 31.
Okay. Try to avoid Tuesdays, unless that's really the only room, and then, you know, hopefully we're far enough down in our,
And I'm sorry, I think I stepped out. Are you looking for 2 dates or just 1?
I think let's get 2 dates.
Okay,
If we can grab the rooms when we can, because I think it's gonna be discussion and then it's gonna have to be doing. And, you know, I think traditionally November is give day, and when Anna starts to do the push, you know, do the Thanksgiving, November things, but I think we have to rename some of the sponsorships and some of the sponsor levels, knowing what's going on and what's happening. And whether we drop some or redirect them. So I don't see that happening in 1 week.
So what's the date? 10, 17?
We don't know. She's gonna check
I'll
the
check.
rooms and then get back to us.
Oh, okay.
But thank
One
you.
or the other. Okay.
Okay. All right, any other thoughts on fund development meeting and the race?
No.
So, you know, if you see anything that catches your eye and makes you pull money out of your wallet, write it down, let's steal it. All right, next up is nominations with Maureen.
I believe I've received everybody's form
Not mine.
except yours and Leanne's, but I know where you live.
So, one of the things I want to say about nominations, and again, I've never added up the number of years I've had the president here, and I think part of that is because of COVID and changes on the board, but we have a couple of corporate positions that are open. This is the time to start switching people around according to our bylaws. You need to be a corporate member to be an executive officer. So if you're a town appointee and you are thinking not September, maybe next year as you become familiar, maybe September if you want it. Whatever time, I'm not trying to, but this is the time to start moving and planning to go forward, right? A wise man once said, never take a position without knowing who's gonna fulfill it after you. I took this position knowing that Leanne was gonna be the next one.
I was ready.
And then the treasury happened and we changed all these things and everything else. I don't know if you're happy there, if you want to do other things, but all I'm saying is, I think new blood is always good. I think new ideas, the way you run things that you do. So if you're at all interested, you don't have to say anything now. You can say it on the forum. You can give me a call or a chat. We can talk about it. But this is the time when we have openings to kind of move people in place, even if it's something that you're thinking of a couple of years from now, when you have something under your belt. If it's something you're thinking about for this coming year or anything else. I'm not gonna be the president of this board forever. I don't know who else is interested. I want to encourage people, if you are interested, to put your name in, and then the process that goes through is.
So in that same vein, if you'd like to be the vice president, I was president for 3 terms a millennium ago. And I really, when I took the vice presidency at whatever point that was, it was more of a placeholder. So I would not feel badly. You know, I think from what Diane has said, you know, if anybody's interested in that presidency, the logical step would be to indicate that you'd like to be the vice president.
Well, even if that case that Diane said, if you're not ready for it, I know that myself, I initially was appointed by a town committee. And there was a lot of strange political machinations, and I'm not a political creature. I don't play well in those waters. So when a corporate opening became available, I asked to change my membership from a committee appointment to corporate appointment.
The same thing.
And it just, because it made it so it wasn't, that's one of the reasons that we only have corporate members being officers, because of the shakeup that things can happen within politics sometimes. So, but it also limits us. So if you're interested in shifting from a political appointment into a corporate, that would be the time to let Maureen know as well, so that PEP can take a look at things and see how they're moving people around, because we have openings in appointments from the town as well as corporate openings.
Right.
So I encourage you to think about things. Figure out what's going on, write it on the forms, or give me a call and we can discuss and see how we can change things or what can go up. But I think it does the board good to have new blood, and I think it does the board good to have new management.
I'm not wedded to this job.
Can't wait till we can find something that could do that.
No, but the
I
thing
did
is,
it
I mean,
already.
I don't want anyone to think that I'm sitting here going, this is mine. Oh, no.
Alright, so
happy to get rid
So I think enough said with that. You need to submit the forms. Maureen, I can't find my form, so I have a blank.
I have blanks.
I'll take it. I'll take it. So again, do that. Look at the committees. The other thing is that, many years ago, I was frustrated because even though the 5K race was very important, to the board, no board members were showing up. It's not this board makeup, but previous board. So in a stroke of, well, I'll call it genius. You guys can call it what it really was. I put everybody on the board and on the race committee, and that worked for a little bit, and then people just couldn't go or didn't go or anything else like that. And one of the things that we were talking about in terms of being able to maybe set things up or get things going better with the 5K race is to have a smaller 5K committee, but to be able to reach out to somebody, say, you know, Neil or Christine or somebody, can you do this task for, you know, for us by this date? And that might be much more effective than having people come to a meeting at 6 o'clock to go to another meeting at 7 o'clock to do whatever. So these are things that we're thinking about to redo and redo the membership. So please put your name in. I don't think on here, well, 5K race is on here. So please submit that and rank them 1, 2, or 3. Don't just put an X. Say, you know, my first choice would be house. My second
Oh, I thought
choice
it
would
said it
be,
at the top. I thought that said it.
yeah, first, second, and third. Sometimes we just get, sometimes they just get X's down in the column.
Oh, I see.
So try to check. If you're interested in trying to work on some policies, choose PEP. You know, if you want to do fund development, if you want to do some of the other things. So again, thank you for that. And for those people that are newer, the brief description is on the back of these forms. So enough said on that. I'm purposely not putting that in with all my other paperwork. So we'll give that to Maureen if you haven't already done that. And then, okay, good. No questions on nominations. I'm gonna move on to communications with Christine or Fiona. Anyone?
I have nothing. Because at the
It's
end of
okay
the
to say
school
no
year,
report, especially. if-
no report, at the end of the school year, I had no time. But Lisa did send me some photos from the race, so I'm going to work on, drafting up some, post-race, articles to send out, and I will send those to Christine and Diane, Lisa, Karen to review. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, good.
Actually, I have a question. The Hanel I know they've been posting online, there's been posts on the social media, I'm wondering, I should probably use some stuff for that as well.
Wants to send you?
Yeah, the details, and then I can get those written up and send them to the normal suspects,
Sure thing.
usual suspects. Okay,
Um,
thanks, Karen. Are there any, I'm sorry, are there any other events that you think might be beneficial for me to, do like a news release or anything like that, or other than email?
Let me look.
Okay. Sorry, I should have emailed you
No,
about this
no,
last week,
that's
but,
It wouldn't hurt to do any cross pollination, if you will, some friends events too. I mean, it doesn't hurt to advertise them, we can get an article in.
yeah, do they have somebody that does that or no?
Michelle does.
She does all their
Michelle
stuff.
Lawyer does
Oh, well.
for,
It's a lot.
yeah, so. I mean, there is a new program series that's gonna be started that she's kind of spearheading. It's a multi-language program. But I think that she's already talked to one of the newspapers about it, but let me talk to her, Fiona and
Okay.
Lisa. And if there's anything,
Great,
I will send you that.
thank you.
And, I did the letters for our donors. And I'm waiting for.
The thank you note?
More, info from Lisa for the rest of
Okay.
whatever needs to go.
I will
She
see her
said she-
tomorrow. I think she's.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I just-
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Do we have any race coverage?
No, I didn't, I didn't get confirmation that anyone would be there, and I didn't see anyone there. Although,
Well, I was just wondering with, you know, like Life does those, just the pictures
yeah,
of things that happened in the last month. If we had anything to send in.
we do, yeah, so, I have photos,
That's what the-
yeah, so I'll send her those, so.
Lisa had some great.
Yeah,
photos.
she sent me the phone, she sent the photos.
All right, any questions for communication? Very many thank yous for the thank you notes. Appreciate that. It's important.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Yes.
I was just gonna say, thank you.
Oh, you're right.
All right, so we talked about Hanel, the dates have been changed from the 17th and 24th to the 24th and 31st. And then we have, the December concert on December 2nd, Larry Grow with the holidays, so that stays,
December 2nd, you said?
December
Any
2nd.
contracts in any of these?
I have it for Larry. I'm waiting. Jim Len sent me something, but it didn't come through.
Okay.
So I emailed him. I had hoped to have it for you tonight, but
No, we got time. I just wondered if there was anything else.
Okay. Open board positions, I think we already talked about that. I think we have to go through that again. Annual meeting, entertainment, remember I said, think about it. Do we want it? Do we not want it? One more
You know-
year without it?
Other than when we did our 80th, and that was a special thing. We don't get much participation at our annual meeting except the board members and a few,
Loyal
Friends.
patrons,
you know.
and those we recognize, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just, you know, with the Hanel concerts that we do. And there's so much going on. I just think that maybe we have too much on our plate to have to worry about. Singing at the annual. meeting. But that's only my opinion.
Anyone else?
I wonder, would it be beneficial to use that time to have somebody come speak to us about something specifically that we would like to know more about? Does that make sense? Maybe like,
For the board?
yeah, like someone that's done a library fundraising camp, you know, something like that. I wonder if that would be worthwhile, the time for if everyone's here and.
But would that interest the public that should?
Well, yeah, no, I guess they wouldn't, I mean,
You know,
no, I didn't, but you're saying it's mainly the board that comes to the annual meeting, so.
Even when we've done programs prior to the 80th it seems like our attendance was still that.
Yeah, it's a group of
Faithful.
friends and the 5 patrons that come every year. And those folks that we recognize for thank you. So that's the other thing is to be thinking about some of that. I put it on there because we used to do entertainment. The world is opening up. It's a tight schedule right now to try to find somebody and sign it up and line it up. I'm okay with, waiting one more year and then seeing, what happens and what goes on. I think it'll be interesting to see how many people come to the Friends annual meeting. How many people are really sitting in for those things. So,
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody who we should invite to our annual meeting. That's me, I can't think of anybody.
yeah, that would go under entertainment. I think it's tight to try and get that done, so.
Sometimes you have to have another type of draw, whether it's like in the case of Gina and our 80th. Or I'm thinking of like when the Friends did their 50th, they did a dinner and then the speaker was Rebecca Lobo's husband. I can't think of his, it's gone right out of my head. But it was more of a celebration aspect. And oh, by the way, we're having this quick little meeting versus here's the meeting and sit through it for the speaker.
Okay. So is the general consensus no entertainment this year? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm hearing more no's than, wait a minute, give me a minute, let me figure this
I
out.
do like your idea, but to incorporate it elsewise or else times,
Also, and I have no idea what conflict could potentially happen, but it is on September 11th, and there could be other things happening in town that people break in.
Yeah.
There's a number of services at churches and things like that.
that, and then I heard the date. Do we want to move the date?
I don't know necessarily have to move the date, but I think that would impede even more so our ability to have a draw of something else.
Okay,
Yeah, I think you're right.
and then it would have to be appropriate. Okay, so, I'm reading the consensus of no entertainment this year. We'll do our board meeting, and for those of you that, may be new and not remember, we usually have a business meeting first. And then, so the business meeting is at 6, and the annual meeting is at 7.
Okay.
All board members are expected to attend both.
I think I went last year.
It's virtual.
No, we were here.
No.
Oh,
no, we were here. We were here in
I think
person.
I must have had a work commitment,
You might have.
but I don't think I was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And many years ago, we used to bring in sandwiches for the business meeting so that people traveling could have something, but we have not done that because of COVID. And I don't know where we stand on that, probably the same.
I mean, we've opened that up a little bit more, but
That we
I
can
think-
decide as we get.
yeah, whatever you
closer to
wanted to do.
but we should probably have both business. We used to have it in the line.
Well, that was gonna be my
Have
question.
it in one room, considering the preponderance of bookings. Leave one room open, but line
Yeah,
has with other people.
I'm leaning towards the no food then,
Okay.
because we'd have to figure out,
How about refreshments?
yeah, we can have cookies and punch.
For
And
the-
we can sell lemonade,
Yeah.
or whatever, for,
Yeah.
whoever shows up, and a nibble for people that come flying in from work, but, I don't think we'll have the sandwiches and chips. And so the business meeting is just that, the business meeting, and then it's our last minute to go through and just say, okay, this is what we're saying, this is what we're doing, these are the people we're recognizing. Okay.
Diane,
Have something to say? Yes.
I don't know if this we consider new business. I just want to throw this idea out there. Going forward, do I consider, moving up our starting time for monthly meetings from 7 to say 6:30? I don't know, the library closes particularly at 8 now. I don't know if that's more a problem.
I mean,
Library.
We would love it, but it's up to you guys.
I would like it. Sounds good to me.
I don't have a problem with it.
If Diane is the issue.
Yeah,
Can
does that
you
give
make
you enough
6:30?
time?
We can't do it, we can do it.
Can't do Australia. She does Australia on Thursdays, right?
Thursdays.
I just remembered why I wasn't at the annual meeting. I had faculty meeting on Monday night. I mean, if everyone agreed to move it up, that makes sense, except that the night that I do have the faculty meeting, I would miss more of the meeting than I have in the past, but that's my own.
Oh, you working people.
I know,
One in every group.
I kind of like 7:00. We had a lot to talk about today, and I think,
Yeah, it doesn't work for people.
Why don't we keep it at 7 and see if, as a consensus, maybe your timeline will change?
Yeah, I can check, I think they usually post those over the summer, the schedule, and I know that this year there were like 2 or 3 that aligned, unfortunately, with the second week of the.
yeah,
month.
second.
So, yeah.
Well, tell them that you have a commitment.
I know. I'm already telling them I-
Yeah, but when the commitment that she's telling them she can't make is the one that's under paycheck, it's a hard sell. It's a hard sell. I would like to keep the meetings at 7, for now, to see as we go through. I understand everybody wants to get out earlier.
Well, I wasn't talking about getting out earlier. I was talking more about the library closing earlier, now, 8:00. That's all I was concerned about.
Yeah,
That's why I suggested
so
it.
don't tell anybody, but I'd like the library to open until 9. for
Well,
me
yeah, I would
personally.
too.
But for the meetings, I think what we can do is hopefully streamline some of our reports. Have committee meetings to do the committee work and really just use this as a reporting venue. And then we ought to be able to be out of here in an hour, hour and a half max.
Sure.
There will always be exceptions, there'll always be, some stuff that goes on, but I feel like we have fallen into, since COVID, we have fallen into the mini committee meetings instead of a committee report, so. And I'm probably the one that's at fault for that. But that's what I'm thinking is we need to go through and do that. So for now, I'd like to keep it at 7, because that works for my work life. I don't know what goes on with, if we get some new board members, maybe we can bring it up again and see what happens.
I mean, I have no problem with 7 personally, but I was just thinking in terms of the library holding powerful, that's the only reason.
I'll have to talk with. I'll have to.
You're all allowed 3 minutes and that's it.
Okay, so under the old rules, I'm making good time. All right, so for now, we'll keep it at 7 unless others are strongly objecting, okay. So that was new business annual meeting, we discussed public participation. Is there any public participation online? No, and there's nobody in the room. Finally here, so I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Thank you, Iris. Thank you, Fiona. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any object? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your dedication over the summer to these other meetings that are going on. I think it's important to try and pull this together and move forward.